Welcome to the Business of Design podcast. I'm Cheryl Horn, Director of Operations at Business of Design. And this episode is brought to you all the way from High Point Market. Recently, we just celebrated 20 years of Business of Design at High Point Market, but that's not all we did when we were there. Thanks to our partnership with Daniel House Club, we did a series of seminars throughout the day. And this is one of them. Kimberley spoke at Four Hands about ignoring the budget and specifying better products. And it was such a great conversation. We didn't want to limit it to just those who were able to attend in person. So we thought we would share it today as part of an episode. If you are listening to this on iTunes or SoundCloud or wherever you stream your podcasts, I highly recommend heading to businessofdesign.com and watching the video version of this episode. And then you can feel like you were, right there with us. So I will hand things over to Peter Spalding, who introduces Kimberley at the event and tells you a little bit about Daniel House Club. They are so supportive of everything that we do here at Business of Design. I know we say this all the time. We don't really have a lot of sponsors. And let me tell you, whenever Kimberley introduces me, I know she always mentions that, saying no is my superpower. But when companies and brands approach us for sponsorship and they're not the right fit, that's not an easy no to do. So we have been partners with Daniel House Club for a few years now. And they support the industry. They support the designers in the same way that we do. It's not a procurement company that, tells you not to worry about the paperwork and they're going to take care of that for you because there's a lot of money in the paperwork. They really have designers at heart, and it certainly can make procurement very profitable for your business. So again, head to businessofdesign.com to watch this episode. There you'll also find a promo code to use to become a member of Daniel House Club, as well as a code to use if you're already a member and you want to save on that next purchase. So I'm going to hand things over to Peter from Daniel House Club. And if you are watching the video, they are in the Four Hands showroom at High Point Market. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, we're doing a panel talk here with Kimberley Seldon from the Business of Design, who, believe it or not, has been podcasting and doing Business of Design for 20 years?
20 years. It's our birthday this month. We're celebrating, yeah.
Insane. I only discovered you in 2015.
What took you so long?
I know. I had to be born, and then and that was when my brother Alex, who's seated over there, and I were running our own design firm and really tired and struggling to get through it. And our project manager said, hey, I heard this lady talking about how you can run this business better. And suddenly we were all listening, and a few months passed and we had room to breathe and do our work and go home and relax at night. That's kind of how Daniel House Club, which is our business, got started. So a few years went by and we thought, Kimberley gave us a lot of the ideas for how this business would work, and we would love to kind of hang out with her. And so we've been happy to do a number of events together, and always had so much fun. And before I say all of the other things that Kimberley has achieved and what she's going to be talking about today, I wanted to just go over two core values of Daniel House Club, which I think have brought us here to Four Hands and Kimberley this morning. And the first is we really are focused on putting designers first. We're always asking ourselves, is this going to be best for our designer client? Are we improving their life or are we not? If the answer is no, we got to change. And then the other core value that's really important to us is that we have fun. We think Four Hands and Kimberley both seem to be doing that same thing, really thinking, how can we put the designer first? How can we make them flourish? And they both look like they're kind of having fun while they're doing it. So that's what's brought us together. If you don't know, Daniel House Club is a membership program. We are the simplest place to find and actually purchase what you are looking for if you're an interior designer. That means that we don't have minimum orders. We have a really great concierge service that will help you when things go wrong. We would never promise that things won't go wrong. They always go wrong. But we are not going to maroon you because we have been marooned ourselves. And we want to make sure that your hand is held until your client is amazed and really, really happy. So we have three tiers of membership. All of them are great. One of them is free shipping for everything. All of them help you get Four Hands products to a residential location, which is really awesome. So apart from 20 years of BOD, you also successfully grew your firm in two major cities, in Toronto and Los Angeles. You've hosted 3 HGTV Canada shows, which is amazing. You're regularly on Cityline.
Oh my God, stop.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to say this at 3 different showrooms this morning. So, and what else have you done? That's it. But we're really grateful, and I think go ahead and tell people why they should ignore their client's budget, and I will shut up.
Are those fighting words?
Yeah.
Yeah. People get riled up when I say that, but I do say often, ignore the budget. Ignore the budget. How many times you go to a client's house and the client says, my budget is X, and that budget will actually cover all the things the client wants to buy? How many times? Never. 0, right? And yet, we meet designers every single day through Business of Design. And I should say, oh my God, Cheryl Horn is here. There would be no Business of Design without Cheryl Horn, and there would be no Business of Design without Janine Laudenbach. So you guys, amazing. We hear from designers every day. We heard from one yesterday who gets the client to agree to a budget for a room up front and then spends his time running around trying to find less expensive items in order to meet the budget. And I'm like, if you would just price the client's wish list, you will end up with better projects, happier clients, and your job will be easier. Because the truth is, clients don't know what something should cost. My daughter had a practice wedding in 2015 where we put a lot of money into it and we just lit it on fire, and they were married a year. And when I hired the team of people to do the wedding, I had in mind that I would spend X number of dollars on the wedding, maybe $75,000. Let me tell you, that is not what I spent on the wedding, because every single thing I wanted was more expensive than what I thought it was going to be. But once people showed me a rose wall made of fresh roses, I didn't want the pink wall anymore. I wanted the roses wall. And so we just went way over budget. And if they had stayed married longer than a year, I'd probably be super happy about that. The fact of the matter is, clients just don't know what things cost. They just don't know. And it's okay to shop from better resources and make really big margins on those resources. So we also meet designers who say, I love to shop at Four Hands, and I mark them up 25% or 50% or even 75%. You can do better than that with your margins. You are not limited to those numbers. You can do much better, and it doesn't hurt Four Hands, and it makes you money. And the fact of the matter is, Peter mentioned that he and Alex were running this company and they were tired and they were exhausted and they were burnt out. You cannot sustain your business and your career if you are not extremely profitable. You just can't. When there is a big problem on a project that's your fault, which does happen sometimes, wouldn't it be nice to be able to just write a check and move on, right? I mean, the truth is, a problem that can be solved with money is not really much of a problem, but if you don't have money, then you have a problem. So you have an obligation as a business owner to run a successful, profitable business. And that does not mean that when you meet a new client and they tell you they want a new kitchen and they want to spend $75,000, that it's your job to get them a $75,000 kitchen, right? It might be that they're going to end up with a $75,000 kitchen, but it will not contain all the things they think they want in their $75,000 kitchen, right? And so when I'm at the consultation, and invariably, there's 2 times we ask the client about the budget. When they phone the office to inquire about a consultation, we definitely ask, what's the budget? And what do they say on the phone? What does the client say on the phone? I don't know. So our response to them then is, well, do you have $1 million to spend? And they always have an answer to that question. They always have an answer to that question. Some of them say, oh my God, no, we were thinking 100,000. Great. Now we have an idea what number you have in your head, right? We have had people say, that sounds about right. And Isun's like, she's ready tomorrow. She'll be there tomorrow. Yeah, that's great. But we kind of get an idea. When I have that number from that first phone call, am I obligated to do the project for that number? No, we've not agreed to anything. That's just the number they want to spend. I want to buy a Mercedes and I want to spend $50,000. But guess what? The Mercedes I want, I can't get for 50. So I have a hard decision to make. Do I get the Mercedes I want that's 150? Or do I get a used Mercedes that, doesn't have a seat for 50, right? Like, I don't know how much they are, but right? Like, so your client's going to make those hard decisions too. So we get that number before I ever go to the consultation. And then when I'm at the consultation again, I'll say, have you thought about budget? And they'll usually say something like, well, we have, but we're not sure. We don't want to spend too much, right? Do you like that one? Oh, we don't want to overspend. And you're looking at right, there's 2 Range Rovers in the driveway and a Tesla plugged in the garage. And you're kind of like, that's an interesting thing to say to me. I've learned that is their stuff. That's not my stuff. And what I always say to the clients is, you're the boss. You decide what to spend. I am never going to tell you what to spend, ever. But what I am going to do is I'm going to price the project you want. And then you're going to think of it like a dim sum menu, and you're going to pick the things you want. And you're going to tell me what the budget is after we go through that exercise. I also tell them that in my years doing interior design, and it's now 25 years, I have never once gone to a project where the client said to me, my budget is X, and that's what they spent. Not once. So I tell them like that. I ask because I want to get a sense of, do you have any idea how expensive this is going to be, right? And I want to get a sense of, are you going to be someone who's going to be reasonable to work with? Are you insisting you have to spend $75,000 on a kitchen, but you want a Sub-Zero refrigerator and a Miele, range and a Wolf range and a Miele dishwasher? In which case we've spent 25 on the appliances, so we don't have enough, right? The fact of the matter is, it's not my job to run around town or call Lily at Four Hands and say, my clients don't have a lot of money, but I need it to look amazing. So can you find me really good stuff that's cheap? Because it's your brand on the line, right? Do you really want your client sitting on stuff that's going to fall apart and be trash when you leave? I don't. I would rather my clients did 1 room beautifully than 2 rooms poorly. So I price the wish list, and sometimes what happens often, like I would say 80% of the time, 75% of the time, the clients will say, okay, let's do it. Let's go for it. They might make a few compromises, but overall they kind of end up with the things that they wanted on their wish list. But then there's another client, and I've had a couple of them recently. I don't know if it's the economic atmosphere we're in. Have you guys seen a little bit of a shift in your clients? We've had a couple clients say, okay, we really want to do all of that, but we don't want to spend that much. So we now want to, we're doing an installation on Monday and Tuesday. She wanted to do a little in this room and a little in that room and a little in this room. And I said, I won't do it. I'll do 2 rooms or the main floor and forget the other floors. We'll do it right. You'll love it. And then in 3 years, we'll come back and do the rest. And she believed me when I said that was the right approach. So sometimes they will say, I don't want to spend, you do the presentation and the amount the wish list came to is $850,000. It's okay if they say, I don't want to spend that. I don't want them to spend more than they're comfortable spending, because if they do, they're not going to like me. And when the economy gets a bit slower, as it does sometimes, I'm desperately dependent on repeat and referral clients at that moment. So I need those clients who I would rather they spend $400,000 and get something they love, and 3 years later come back and spend another $400,000. That works way better for me. But what I can't do is promise them $1 million kitchen, but deliver it for $600,000. So the budget is, when the client gives you a budget, I guess the whole point of this is, I'm not obligated to meet that budget. My contract doesn't put the client's budget on the line. The client doesn't say, I want to spend $50,000 and I write that into my contract. I used to. That's a huge mistake. Now my contract says the budget will be determined after the presentation at step 5. Who determines the budget? The client. I'm not going to beat them into anything they don't want to do. What's there to argue about when your contract says you're in charge of the budget, you tell me what the budget is, not today, but after step 5. So I've just learned to just more and more lean into those suppliers who make me look good with my clients. As you gain confidence, it's okay to, sell the exceptional. Isn't that what you guys used to say in your boss group? Sell the exceptional. It's okay to present a light fixture that you think is really expensive and you can't even imagine the client would go for it. They might go for it. They might compromise on something else. They might say, is there any way we could do some end tables that are less expensive than these in order to pay for the expensive light fixture? Stop trying to save your clients money. And it's not that I don't like my clients at all, not at all. It's that I don't know what they want to save on. So I use the example of a car. If a client sent me to buy a fancy new, what's a fancy car?
Oh, you'll have to ask someone cooler.
Who, what? A Bentley. If my client asked me to go buy a Bentley and they said, our budget is $300,000, I think that's a lot of money. So I trot off to the Bentley store and they say they want heated seats and a leather interior and a sunroof. And I get there and it's $400,000 for the car they want. And then are they going to really let me decide which elements are going to take out of that car to make it affordable? Because I'm going to go, forget the sunroof, because I'm always closing it anyway. Don't like my hair blowing all over the place, so no sunroof. And I have to have heated seats, but I don't care about the leather. I'll do something else. And then the client goes, wait a minute, where's my sunroof? That was really important to me. I don't care about heated seats. So I tell the clients, you be in charge of what the project ultimately ends up looking like and where you think it's worthwhile to spend money. Another good example is my husband loves audio visual equipment. So he's got subwoofer thingies and surround sound. And we'll be listening to a movie and he's going, listen to that. Isn't that cool? And I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about. I would have music playing on my iPhone out of a little Wi-Fi plug-in speaker and I'd be thrilled. But he's got remote control of this and that. And anyway, he would spend a lot more on audio visual equipment. I would spend nothing. I would spend a lot more on draperies. He would spend nothing. It's impossible for us to guess what's going to be most important to our clients. So you show them the amazing things and you sell it and you talk them into it and you stay confident in your choices and you stay strong in your choices. So ignore the budget. Ask clients what the budget is. But then let them know that you have never, in all the years you've been working, however many years that is, you've never once had a client say to you, my budget is $400,000. And what do you know? That's exactly what the whole project cost. That's never happened. So while it's helpful to know that they've thought about the budget, I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to get to that number. And it's never going to be in my contract. Never going to be in my contract, the client's budget, ever. Right? So they're giving me the 5-minute warning, but do you guys questions? Yeah, go for it.